Tech Unite Africa is a convergence of tech industries, enthusiast companies across the world for a two-day exhibition and seminar on issues bordering the development of tech industry in Africa, ranging from cybersecurity, cloud computing, digital marketing, and Internet of Things. So, welcome.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. 11 years ago, when I finished from the University of Ibadan, I asked myself a question. Now that I am an engineer, what can I do now? What problems can I now solve? And I think that's what education should be about, right? Being able to build people who can solve real problems, and perhaps in the course of solving problems, create wealth, jobs, and opportunities for others. No wonder back in primary school, when the maths teacher teaches maths how to solve problems, it then goes into an aspect called word problems, where we see questions that look like real-life scenarios, helping us to understand how our maths knowledge can solve day-to-day problems in the community. So I asked myself that very honest question: what problems can I now solve independently? And the response I gave myself was shocking. I was unable to pinpoint a skill I had acquired confidently. So how can a first-class product of electrical and electronic engineering from Nigeria's best university, the University of Ibadan, I mean, you can argue about that, but that's the way it is, isn't it? Not be able to come up with a career path after 5 plus X years, where X equals absolute times. You know how many times we have a change in government. And so I knew there was trouble. Luckily for me, the University of Ibadan offered me a scholarship for masters with 25,000 naira stipend per month to proceed on my master's in engineering management, but I declined. I declined not because it was in Nigeria, but because I needed answers to my question. Could this be just a personal experience or that of other undergraduates? I mean, could we have other graduates who studied one thing and are now doing something else? Does it mean that people are misled into choosing a career, before discovering themselves? Or do they just not get the real content in the educational system which they thought they would get? Well, while you're thinking about the answer to that question, I can tell you for free that I have met people who study computer science in Nigeria, and I hope they're not in this room, that have zero experience with coding. And if at all, maybe just coding in Google or Fortran. I know I'm not talking about on a computer, on a piece of paper. So much so that we now have a generation of young people who now feel that school is a scam, Boko is haram, and not far from the truth, but that's because they are not yet aware of true education. Luckily, I got another opportunity of a scholarship from the federal government of Nigeria to go to UK for my master's, and then another scholarship from the UK government for a doctorate degree. And during these years, I remained marveled about how the educational system was structured overseas. And in fact, my first visit to the school of electrical and electronic engineering at the University of Manchester almost got me confused. I was like, wait, am I in a factory? Or does my school share the same building with the factory? Because you could see big machines working actively and people going in and out to collect data as if they were producing something for the country. It It wasn't long before I came to appreciate what the true structure of an educational system should look like. And then look at their budget for maintenance. It's equal to 1/3 of Nigeria's annual budget. I'm not talking of the educational system in the UK's budget for maintenance. I'm talking of the budget of the University of Manchester alone. And that does not include their budget for research funding, projects, and all of that. And who funds it? I mean, when we go there, or perhaps the Nigerian government when they sponsor hundreds of my colleagues, and year in, year out. But what should we do? Should I cry? Should I complain about how things are going and wail about the government? About how the government is not doing this or that? Really? Who is the government? In a country where government is hardly a continuum, I mean, I ask again, who is the government? We do not need the government. A nation will only arise when the people take their future into their hands. If they are awake and give up on resilience, oh, you know that word, right? Resilience. About how Africa is a continent of people that are patient. So much patience, so much hope in God that things will get better. Well, I'll tell you about someone who I know is resilient, the frog. Place a frog in a pot of water and put some heat underneath. Even though the frog is known for leaping, it won't, because it has the ability to resilient. You just adjust its internal body temperature, and then that unfavorably hot water becomes normal again. And everybody continues that way. Using up all of its energy to keep adjusting its internal body temperature until the water becomes boiling point. And at that point, it needs to really jump out now, but it's too late, impossible. And so, if that's what it means to be resilient, I think we should be resilient. We have to change the status quo. We have to arise as a people. And that explains the importance of a seminar like this, where those in the tech space and those who wish to be in the tech space can actually come and share ideas on what we should be doing to get to the next level. So, what is the future? Well, I'll tell you about the past. In the 17th century, we had the agricultural revolution and we lost it. Then came the first industrial revolution and we lost it. The second and the third, we lost it. Now, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, and the age of information. In fact, the future is now data revolution. In this age of faster computing powers, broader knowledge sharing, and an avalanche of real-life data, the quest for artificial intelligence has become a global and real case. So my name, Dr. Olusola, founder of Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Nigeria, and I'll be speaking to you on robotics and AI. We hear about it every day. Robots are the future. Robots will make life easier. And we cannot wait for robots that can wash cars, clean the house. I'm sure the last ones will like that, but the first ones are. You know, wash the cars, clean the house, and even spoon feed us because human beings are fast becoming lazier by the day. Nobody wants to go anywhere, we want everything here, now. And what would be the joy, to have a robot chanting, here comes the helicopter, open your mouth for food, and then all you have to do is just relax and eat. It tells you what's going to be in your office, you don't even have to go to work. You don't even have to go anywhere with MetaPass, you can stay in one place and be somewhere else. But before we dig deeper, let's understand what robotics is and what AI means and how it affects us today. Robotics is the branch of engineering concerned with the design, construction, and the use of robots or machines to perform tasks traditionally done by humans. Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, is simply that intelligence that is demonstrated by the machines. So whatever software or code you can put in a physical machine that makes it seem like it's a human being that took that decision or the other, then you have AI within it. Robots mostly do repetitive tasks like painting and welding. They also do tasks that are considered to be dangerous. So-called landing on the moon, or going to mass. Talk about attending to an Ebola patient or a COVID patient. Talk about responding to radioactive spill. And I pray it doesn't get to that point. We are aware of the condition of the world today, and everyone is thinking, it's not going to be a third world war. But are you even ready? You're just waiting, watching the TV. I feel very bad, when I reflect on what happened with the COVID experience, where we needed to sanitize the entire community at once. But for people to go and do that were not available. We needed drones and robots to go out in the streets. China could do that, but we couldn't even produce nose masks. So that sometimes we have to look inwards. We can perfectly create and replicate materials now through 3D printing, 3D scanning, CNC machining, and laser engraving. We can embark on rescue missions that may be too dangerous for humans. Rescue missions across landmines, caves, fire outbreaks. We still have in Nigeria today cases of fire outbreaks, building collapse, and we're like, who is going to help? Really, it's not beyond robotics. Sometimes we think of robots as machines that are small, and I can be like, oh, bring that small robot to me here. No. In the UK, for example, I've built or worked with a team that built an actual excavator, which we all know to be an excavator, but unmanned, remote control. What that means is that I can manage 5 of them at the same time. I don't have to be in one of them. So when you talk about robots, we're not talking about building new things. We're talking about making the old things intelligent. And they are very simple things to do. We have bee-bots that promote cross-pollination in plants. We have self-driven cars. We have surgeries performed over long distance, medical surgeries. Without the doctor needing to be physically present. All he needs to do, place his hands into robotics gloves, and then there will be a robot hand on the theater table, attend to the patient. So every minute movement of the hand of the doctor in that robotics glove, anywhere in the world, will translate to the movement of the robot arm in the theater. So you can have the best surgeon operate on a patient without having to travel out of the country. The possibilities are endless. On October 11, 2017, the world's first social humanoid robot, Sophia, was introduced to the United Nations with a brief conversation with Ms. Amina Mohammed, the UN Deputy Secretary General, who was in my office back in December to see what we are doing at RAIN. She was also given, I'm talking about the robot now, was also given citizenship in Saudi Arabia, and that means she can't leave that country unless she has a passport. So, what about Nigeria, the largest black nation? Greatest Nigerians. Oh, you don't even believe you're greatest. Greatest Nigerians. All right, we're not doing bad, honestly. At least we have the National Center for Robotics and AI in Abuja. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think it's a building somewhere, right? We're getting there. Well, I would say that access to information and public enlightenment has actually been sporadic in Nigeria and Africa and has sparked that interest in robotics in a lot of youth today. Many times parents call, young graduates call to say, I have a child who loves robotics, but there's no university in Nigeria today where they can do robotics. And I'm like, yes, because robotics cuts across various fields. Study what you want to study and think about how to automate the processes. And then maybe you figure out the role of robots in that role, and then you go and learn robotics. You don't learn robotics on its own because you'll be limited to what you can do. Have an application, that's the way to go. Everybody now wants to be a robotics engineer and AI developer. In 2018, a 26-year-old Nigerian by name Silas Adekunle was credited for building the world's first gaming robot and being the highest paid in the field of robotics engineering. But we have not scratched the surface of it yet. There's still a lot of work to do. Although few robots have been created, fewer robots are being used in the industry today. What that means is that the industry feels they still don't have the standard of robotics that can be used in the industry. So therefore, there's work to be done. And this is because of the large skill gap caused by the lack of professionals in creating and operating